Palihog kog turn off sa inyong video kay mag-record ta. Turn off lang ha inyong video. Thank you. Just keep on listening, and if ever I will ask question para may interaction tayo, you can turn on your audio. Right? Patihan natin. Konti. Ayan. Okay, let's begin with this if-then statement. So, forget muna ang converses, alright? Dito muna tayo mag-focus sa if-then statements. So, for example, kani, kuha na kayo kanang sabutable na, if a number is even, this is an example of if-then statement ha. If a number is even, so even daw ang number, then, so as what you observe na ay if tas na ay then it is divisible by 2. Oh, so it's really understood that it's an even number, it's divisible by 2. And since it is an if-then statement, it is what we call conditional. Diba? Conditional form. Naka-bold na siya, conditional. Sa may ma-relate na to ani, diba? Conditional love. Love taka kung na condition ay if na kung, or in if-then form, naka if-then form. Halata na kayo na it's because there's a word if then. Right? Students, the conditional statement na siya 2 parts. All right? It is the hypothesis, and in this subject we will denote that one as P. Welcome Rachel again, Chua. Pangalawa na si Chua. Dalawang Chua dito. So, 2 parts ng if then, the hypothesis, which we denote that one as P. Alright? Okay. And then the conclusion, which we denote, pasabot sa denote, we give symbol of, muna ang denote, by Q. So, Q. Both of them are italicized, naka-italize. Alright? So, that's the conclusion. So, in the symbols, so muna the statement if is denoted by P, and then is denoted by Q. Welcome Janelle Bansale. Salamat sa pag-attend. And then if is the hypothesis, and then is the conclusion. Alright? Princess Orquiza, welcome sa tuang conference. Then, now, it is written as this symbol. Alright? Teka lang nga, pwede ba ako makadraw nito? Symbol. This symbol na ito symbol na ito. That's the if-then statement. So, P, if P, then Q. P is our hypothesis. Ayan. P, hypothesis, where our Q is the conclusion. So, bigay tayo ng another example. Now, this is an example of if-then statement. Now, kung nyo napapansin, merong nag-start ng if, condition. So, we call this statement as conditional. No? If it is 9:30 a.m., today is 9:20. At this moment, 9:20. So, if it is 9:30 a.m., then it must be daytime. So, then is followed by the conclusion, which we denote as Q. So, this is an example of conditional statement. If it is 9:30 a.m., then don't forget the comma. Huh? May comma yan dyan. Then it must be daytime. This is an example of if-then statement. Ang example niya kanina, first, it's ito. If a number is even, then it is divisible by 2. So that's also an example of if-then statement. And the conditional statement are not always written in if clause first. Yana, Gail, welcome. Olbis, welcome Yana. Thank you for attending. So, if-then statement, as what I have said kanina, it's not always written as if-then statements. Alright? Meron ding, it's not always written as kanang if clause first. So, the meaning of that is this. Hindi na siya pasabot na naka-if siya permanente. For example, sa table na ako dito sa general form, ito lang sulat ako. This is an example of so they have said na sir, it's not always in if-then form, right? If ito ang example ng if-then form, di ba? P is the hypothesis, Q is the conclusion. If it is 9 a.m., 9:30 a.m., then it must be daytime. Alright? Pwede rin na P implies Q. So like 9:30 a.m. implies it must be daytime. So kung if you notice it, no if word. So wala siya naka-if clause. Pero the word implies must be there. Bali, naka-replace siya, but this time we cannot put it in front of the statement or sa first. Must be 9:30 a.m. implies it must be daytime. Right? Then, pwede ring naka-P only if Q. It means the hypothesis is no if, pero nandoon ang if sa conclusion. Like, 9:30 a.m. only if it must be daytime. Okay? So, mo na ang general form, tapos mo na ang example. Alright? Then, pwede ring naka-Q if P. Q, take note, is our conclusion. So, nauna ang conclusion. So, it must be daytime if it is 9:30 a.m. These examples are, itong examples na ito are conditional statement pa rin. But, meron siyang iba't ibang form, which against doon sa sinabi ko kanina na if-then statements. But in geometry, in this subject, focus tayo sa if-then statements. Introduce lang natin na students, dili lang if-then pwede sa kanina general form ang statement na we will be using. Because pag magdating na tayo sa proving, if-then tayo nakafocus. So, there. Okay. This is an example of if-then statements. Okay? Example ito ng if-then statements. Pero let's classify saan ba dito ang hypothesis, saan din dito ang conclusion. Right? Let's do example number 1. Now, sa example number letter A rather, if welcome Mara, Hana, Suzette, Ricania. Ayan. Mara, welcome. Thank you for attending. Mag-end tayo 10 o'clock. Mag-extend pa tayo, depende ba? We will finish this topic. So if my first example, if 4x minus 1. This is an expression now or equation. If 4x minus 1 is equal to 7, then x is equal to 2. Now, ang atong hypothesis in this statement, if-then statement is, ito ang ating hypothesis. 4x is equal, 4x minus 1 is equal to 7. So that's the hypothesis. While the conclusion is x is equal to 2. Why? So I have said, kung balikan natin kanina, itong si hypothesis is followed by if, while si then is followed by the conclusion. Diba? Conclusion man agad basta then. Basta then. So remember that one always. And the conclusion is denoted by Q, while the hypothesis is denoted by P. Alright? So ito, example number letter B. Alright. 2m is equal to 10 implies m is equal to 5. So don't forget, ito yung ating i-follow na general form, implies. So I hope na remember ninyo ang word na implies. So sa pag-implies, ito yung forma. Si P is the hypothesis. So our hypothesis therefore here is 2m is equal to 10. And then since Q implies followed by Q, which is Q, take note, is the conclusion. And so therefore, ang conclusion natin is M is equal to 5. Ayan. M is equal to 5. And kaya sa table natin, if we categorize, ayan, if we categorize 2m is equal to 10 is the hypothesis in this statement, and also m is equal to 5, which is our conclusion. And then let's try this letter C. Okay, letter C. Statement. I can't drive if I'm tired. So I can't drive if I am tired. So what would be our hypothesis in this statement? Ano kaya? So we will follow just this general general form. So Q if P. So therefore Q here is our I can't drive. No? Q. The Q is the conclusion, di ba? Then P is the hypothesis. So our hypothesis therefore in this particular example is I am tired. No? If I am tired, so this is now the Q. This is now the hypothesis. And then kaysa nauna ang conclusion kaysa hypothesis. Ayan. So ito na 4. And then letter B, that's why kung atong i-categorize sa hypothesis tsaka conclusion, ito yung sagot. Take note, ito yung solution. So this is how you do it. Okay? And then lastly, I will pass the subject. Kanina statement. So again, this statement, although gi-introduce lang natin na students meron pang ibang hindi lang lahat naka-if then statements. No? Kung titingnan niyo parang wala naka-if then statement, but still it is an if then statement. We can extract from there the hypothesis and the conclusion. Pwede na ito ma-extract. So, example na lamang is this one. I will pass the subject only if I will pass the final exam. So, what would be our hypothesis here? Isa kaya itong hypothesis? Let me ask somebody. Sige na. Si Brian Raffles. Brian, talk to me, Brian. Paki-turn on daw sa imuhang unsa. Audio. Sayang. Hindi ko makita da. Dakay ko ano nga. Wala, tanggalon ko na lang kaya nila. Brian, can you hear me? Si Lay na lang kaya. Lay, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Ayan, Lay. Can you tell the class what would be the hypothesis you can extract out from this statement? I will pass the subject only if I will pass the final exam. Ang general form you will follow is
I
this.
will pass the subject, sir.
I will pass the subject. That would be your what? Hypothesis or conclusion?
Hypothesis po.
Hypothesis. Okay. That's it. No? I will pass the subject. Very good, Lay. And I will pass the final exam. That would be your what? Your conclusion. Ayan, conclusion. So I will pass the subject is a hypothesis. Then now your conclusion will be I will pass the final exam. Kailangan nga, turn on ko lang ang aking camera. Pero pasensya sa camera ha, murag si sir ninyo as kang ituma jud dira kay wala ko naguba akong camera. Anyways, gwapo maghapon na. Antusa na lang na ninyo. So let's continue. So in conclusion or if we will summarize, so you cannot minimize when you are recording the meeting. Okay. Now if we will summarize these things, summarize natin. Nakita ninyo yung screen ko. Nandun pa rin. Okay. Pag summarize natin yung class, ito, take note ha, the conditional statement, it may be true or false. Pwede na siya true or false. Ang conditional statement. Not all conditional statements na true. Pwede rin yan siya false. Now, ito yung pattern. Alright? If the, ano galing ito ang P? Hypothesis or conclusion ang P? Anyone, you can react. Ano gani ang P? Hypothesis or conclusion?
Hypothesis.
Okay, hypothesis. If the hypothesis is true, ito yung ibig sabihin sa table na ito ha, this is the summary. Kasi sabi ko kanina, conditional statement, not all the time true. Pwede siya maging false. So, this is the summary table. If it is true, ang hypothesis, tas ang conclusion is also true, therefore, true ang statement. Right? Pag true ang statement. Ito na. Awa. If the hypothesis is true, tas ang conclusion is false, false din ang statement. And follow na yan. No? Tingnan nyo. If the If the hypothesis is false, and then ang conclusion kay true, ang statement kay true. Ito na. Pag false ang, ako nang i-prove later, pag false ang hypothesis, tas false ang conclusion, would you believe ang statement kay true? Okay? Mo ni ang nag-summarize sa truth table of the if-then statement on the right. So kani siya. So take note of this. No? Balikan nato na tinuod ba dyan na if the hypothesis is false, conclusion is false, then true daw ang statement. All right? Ayan. So here are some of the definitions. Welcome, Janelle Bansale. Okay, these are the definitions ng definition of words ito ha, meaning of words, term, phrases. Let's define first kasi useful kasi ito masyado sila. Number 1 is the postulate. No? 10 minutes left, magpasa ko another link. Kasi wala ni naka-schedule. If a statement, now, postulate meaning is a statement which is accepted as true without proof. Muna ang ibig sabihin sa postulate. It means statement na siya, accepted na siya na true maski walay proof. That's postulate. Example. Nanasagdaan. Sir Langga. Guwapo